Hello and welcome to this edition of the Sports. I think this is going to be a fun show tonight. I can tell already. But thanks for joining us here on the Sports Den, the weekly Sports Den live show. Domenic Papa, glad to have you along for the ride. Before we get into our panel and our topic for the night, a shout out to the AKO Fratman football team. They are still 3-1. They didn't finish their game last week due to the weather conditions. They will reschedule that game. They'll have an announcement shortly as to the rescheduled game with Hamilton. The Fratmen, though, will be in action this coming Saturday, and of course you can watch the game live right here on we-tv.ca. There you go. Thanks a lot, Steve. The Burlington Braves will be in town, so the Fratmen will be looking to keep pace with Ottawa and Hamilton. 6:30 is the kickoff pregame show. 7 o'clock, all the action coming to you live from Windsor Stadium on we-tv.ca. Also, a shout out to Windsor Stars Soccer. They didn't complete their game as well. They will have 2 games this weekend, Friday and Saturday night. One of those games will be a cup game, so some great soccer being played out at the McHugh Soccer Complex. And Windsor Lancers football is going to get a shout out this week on the Sports Den. They are off to a perfect 3-0 start. They throttled the Waterloo Warriors this past weekend, 63-4. Austin Kennedy is on fire and 8 touchdown passes away from establishing a new OUA touchdown pass mark. Good luck to him in that venture. On the show today, we are going to talk about coaching with multi-million-dollar athletes, also at the minor level, the junior levels. It's all changed over the years. We've got 3 great people to talk about it with us. First, to my far side of the table, he did an outstanding job in his first season with the Windsor Clippers Junior B lacrosse team. I believe it was only a couple of losses.
3
losses. 3 losses. An outstanding campaign, though, a good playoff run. The head coach is with us, Jerry Cavanaugh. Thanks for joining us, Jerry. Finally got you in. A little bit of a downtime for you, right?
Yeah, slowed down a little bit for a couple months.
So was Junior B lacrosse what you expect? I mean, you've been around a lot. You knew a lot of the kids.
Yeah.
I don't think it was really that hard of a jump up for you.
Not so much, but yeah, definitely learn some things that are gonna help going forward, I think.
Yeah. What'd you think of the Clippers this year? How would you evaluate the team?
Yeah, we talked about it at the banquet. Right after we lost the series, hard to look at it as a success, but overall, yeah, definitely a really good year, and looking forward to next year right away.
Yeah, I think it was a really successful year. You had a scoring champion, you saw kids develop, but that's what you really want to see.
Exactly.
Is the kids develop, and I think you got a nice base for next year.
I think so, yeah.
Yeah, so, all right, good stuff. Thanks for coming in today.
Thank you.
Also on the show today, longtime soccer guy, very knowledgeable soccer guy, good sports guy as well, and I don't even want to ask him about the Scotland-England vote that just took place back in his home country, but he does an outstanding job with the blue and gold of the University of Windsor Lancer soccer program. He coaches both the men and women this year. Talk about a guy that works hard. Steve Hart is with us.
Hi, Dom.
How do you I guess, is it a different approach between when you're talking to the women's soccer team than that of the men's soccer team?
Yeah, I can't swear as much.
There you go. Okay.
No, it is actually. When I first got the job, I was kind of quoted as saying, and I believed at the time, that I coached the sport, not the gender. Well, I've since learned that isn't quite the same. That isn't a true statement. You've got to blend a bit of both. There's a lot of female management has to go on with the girls. You can't be as abrupt as you can with the guys. You can tell it as it is with the guys, and it's not that you would ever tell them a lie. You just gotta make sure that it's not hurtful. It's said in a nice way, and But again, when I took the job in November, coach the sport, not the gender. But I guess I've learned that there is a 50-50 mix of this.
Presentation.
All about it.
Right. It's
all about it. All about presentation.
Good to see though. I follow the programs closely, obviously. Both teams doing pretty good jobs so far. Yeah, the girls are doing really good. I mean, it's funny. I think they turned the corner on Friday. They got beat by Western 1-0, but they're ranked 4th in the country. We were 0-0 at the 65th minute when the referee tossed one of our players out, so we had to play with 10 men. We got to the 80th minute before they scored. So to lose 1-0 to 4th in the country with 10 players, they're finding a lot of self-belief, and that's good. The guys they're just trucking along. They're doing good. We've always, as you know, you followed us for many years, that we've had a scoring problem. Yes. Well, we seem to be scoring for fun nowadays, but we're letting goals in. Yeah. So we've had to work hard the other end of the field. So it's a bit of a shock to us. So we've the last few weeks of training, we've worked hard, and
We went up to Weston on Friday and we spoiled homecoming.
Yes, 4-1 win. Just to let everybody know, we beat that London team. I didn't mind that at all. That's
No,
for sure.
it was really nice to spoil homecoming.
Yeah, good for you and congratulations
Thank
on
you.
that. That's a feather in your cap right
Definitely.
away. So.
I'll quit now.
Yes, right now. Quit while you're ahead, for sure. Thanks for coming in tonight,
No
Steve.
problem.
Also on the show, I've known this guy for a few years now, probably since when I was 8 years old, actually. I met this guy, and we've remained pretty close friends, longtime friends. He's very busy with doing his thing in the baseball world. He's an outstanding promoter of baseball in our community. He's developed a lot of guys to go on to different levels of baseball. He's part of the Selects program. Mr. Richard Solomon is with us, and welcome to the show, Rich.
Welcome, Dom.
You
Thank
were
you
on
for
the
having me,
Sports
Dom.
Den before, but you haven't been to the new studio yet. So.
No, it's a lovely place,
Yeah,
Dom.
it's a good place. We're pretty happy with it. Selects baseball. You know what? A lot of people don't realize that Selects baseball is still going right now, isn't it?
Yeah, we're playing fall ball. The kids
Yeah.
have a 25-game schedule against University of Windsor and numerous U.S. colleges in Michigan.
Okay. Now these are the 17-year-olds.
17, 18s, yeah.
Okay. How did the season go this year for the guys? I know they played in a lot of key tournaments.
They played 57 games. They were 41-16.
That's not a bad record. Pretty
Yeah.
good.
Yeah, not too shabby.
The challenge every year here, Richard, is one, to find these guys, and two, to develop them and see the potential in them. Is the baseball area that rich in talent?
Always has been, Dom. We get this year on our 15-year-olds that came in, we had 55 kids try out, and we took 18 kids for the fall in the 16U team.
Okay.
And the 18U team has 25 players, so.
And of course, the main schedule for them, PBL, Provincial Baseball
Yeah,
League
in
of Ontario,
May.
outstanding baseball. It's like junior A hockey, the Windsor Spitfires.
Yeah.
Good comparison there, Rich.
Very, very so.
Yeah,
So,
and a lot of these kids are getting a lot of looks, right, from colleges, and things
we
like that,
have
pro baseball.
we have 25 kids right now on scholarship in U.S. colleges as of fall, September now. So there's 25 kids away across the United States, so
Okay, good stuff. So it's doing its thing.
it is.
Good stuff. Well,
It
thanks
is.
for coming in today.
Thanks,
and
thanks
we'll
for
look
having me
forward
with
to
these
your
fine
thoughts
gentlemen
tonight.
here in the community.
It's all good here. Coaching. That's what we want to talk about. I'm going to put the football stuff aside because I'm just tired of it and I need to talk about something else. But coaching, as these guys can attest to, I mean, they're all former players. Now they're into the coaching end of things. Coaching is an ongoing thing. You know, in every sport, whether it be lacrosse, whether it be soccer, or whether it be baseball, does a lot change? Can you change a lot of strategies? Can a coach figure out new systems? Can a coach, or is it just like, here's the playing field, you got to work within that and work with what's available?
Well, I don't know. It's not so much that I think strategies change and all that. It's the development aspect. And I think we as coaches, especially at the grassroots level, I think there has been a change. Sports Canada's developed a long-term athlete development module that, you know, we are all supposed to follow. Each sport, again, tweaks it to their own. And soccer's called LTPD, long-term player development. And I think one of the first things we had to do was realize that some of the things we were doing were wrong. And, you know, it was all about winning. It was all about the little piece of plastic at the end of the year. Well, you know, with the younger players now in soccer, we're focusing purely on development. We're getting away from win. I know some of the parents, they want to have the league tables, but the coaching aspect now is purely on, it's like physical literacy. The young child can't move their body correctly, so we're telling our younger coaches now how to teach players to open up their body to receive a ball. I mean, it's all about the growth of the child. Kids are very good with their thumbs, you know. Yeah. So
well, that's one of the problems with today. I mean, you know, that's taken away from sport.
Oh, for sure.
It's got to be a concern, even at the university level, at the junior level in baseball as well. I mean, kids just do not seem as, I guess, anxious to get out on a play.
Well, what I find, we call the timeout generation. These kids here, they're used to, you know, in our day, Dom, and most of our days, if you were told things once, you weren't told things the second time.
Well, that's true, yeah.
Talk wasn't coming second.
Yeah.
I find with this level of kids that you've got to talk to them, always not at them. You got to be, the fundamentals don't change of a sport. I think the approach to the kids, you have to modify it as time goes on here. And as we get older too, less grumpier and stuff. But
You grumpier now?
No, just
come on.
less
You're more of a
tolerant.
sweetheart
I'm
now,
just
aren't
less
you?
tolerant. But I think, Don, when you're dealing with younger kids, you have to be very careful on how you treat them and how you come at them. So that's our approach, I believe.
Has it changed a lot, Jerry, since you played?
Yeah, I think so for sure. I mean, I think like you're saying with the other things taking over for kids. I think by the junior level, you've got the kids that are truly passionate and want to be there. But the younger levels, you're still trying to sell it all the time that it's got to be enough fun that they want to come back next year. That's, it can't just be
That's a good
pound
point.
the fundamentals in, because if it's not a good time, they'll find something else to do, right? Like,
Yeah. They're
so
very
that's-
easily distracted.
Absolutely.
Aren't they? Yeah. By the way, if you want to get involved with our discussion, you can see right there, you can contact us on our Twitter page at Sports Den Live. If I have time, if you do tweet in, I'll try to read a few of the tweets. You can get involved with the discussion. If you want to throw out a question to the panel, by all means, do it. So contact us at Sports Den Live. Let's talk about coaching just at higher levels then. Let's face it, sports is big business now. I don't care how you look at it. Sport, I even tell a lot of people there's no such thing as true sports anymore. It's sports business. That's what it's come down to. I mean, you look at the television deals that are out there, you look at the salaries of players, you look at all of those things. Does that dictate some of the coaching that goes on now?
Well, you're never going to get rid of a good athlete, right? The premier athlete. I think the coach will go if there's issues. You're not going to get rid of your star players. So.
Yeah, it's more about, at that level, don't you think it's more about, as we were saying before the show started, it's more about man management. Because these guys are on such incredible salaries that, if you're going to bring a guy in and play him millions and millions, you're not really going to put him on a bench. You're going to have him involved. Or you're going to trade him. It's as simple as that. But again, if you do put him on a bench, then you're going to have one disgruntled person upsetting your bench.
Yeah.
So
Just a little.
Just a little, yeah.
Spend a lot of time stroking egos, I think, right? And then, making sure the star guys are happy. And it's got to be tough, I think, at the pro level. But, that's why the coaches get paid.
But really,
more
how
for.
tough can it be? And I'm just going to play devil's advocate here, Jer. You supposedly have the best of the best. I mean, these guys have made it through every level of athletics, and now they're playing in whatever Premier League it is, whether it's professional soccer, professional baseball, even professional lacrosse, which there's a good league now. These guys are supposed to know the game. So where does coaching come in?
I think just keeping that intensity level and that passion up every game. Like, those are long seasons. And you look at the hockey seasons and baseball seasons, like to day in and day out to go out there, especially when you're the star, right? Like look at the guys like Michael Jordan back then, to go out every game and be the best player on the floor. It takes some coaching, I guess, and some.
It takes some coaching, or is it just that he was that special?
Maybe he was, but I mean, they're not all like that. There's other guys that you did.
Do you find out, even I love, like, the better athletes sometimes patrol the team anyways. They patrol the dugout, I watched Man U in Leicester the other day. Wayne Rooney was giving it to his teammates after every goal, and they started losing. Like, I think.
And there's nothing wrong with that.
There's nothing wrong with that.
I meant Man United losing.
Yeah,
Sorry.
it's okay.
No, sorry.
But I just think then sometimes you have players, your better players police the team.
And that's probably part of the coaching is the best coaches somehow get their best players to buy in, and that gets the rest of the team into it. If you don't have the big dogs in your team on your side, then you're not going to be around long, I would think, as a coach.
Yeah, but then again, you can get the big dogs that force the coach out. Because
That's
we
what-
all
yeah.
know if the coach falls out of favor with the players,
gone.
then
Yeah.
they're gone.
That's the risk that you're taking there, and that's where I was going with this. I mean, sure, you want your star player to buy into what you're, dealing as the coach.
Yeah.
And if he does, then he,
Then you're golden. But if he doesn't,
you're almost at his mercy.
I always marvel at Scotty Bowman every year, how he just kind of forced, like he made Eiserman a two-way player, like he always kind of
You
had
got
the will
Eiserman
to win. Like,
you got Eiserman to not worry about scoring so much. Let's
Yeah.
take care of some defensive
he
side
did.
of it. And Eiserman did, and he ended up winning some cups with it. So it's a proven, I guess, theory to get the coach to
I
do
heard
that.
one athlete a couple years ago saying 364 days a year we hate our coach, but on the 365 when we got our
Christmas.
ring, we loved them.
Christmas
But
Day
when they got their
gift.
ring, they loved them. So.
Yeah, well, the ring is what it's all about, I guess, eventually. But again, I think there's also that business aspect in it. And how many times have we seen, I should say, where a coach is the fall guy, and I get upset with this because it's
How about
not-
your favorite team, Randy Carlisle's run that
Well-
team? Does
well,
it matter who's coaching?
See, I like Randy Carlisle. It doesn't matter in Toronto. Toronto's a different beast,
Yeah.
okay? When it comes to hockey, I mean, if you go to the washroom, they report it, okay? Well, it's Randy Carlisle just went to the washroom, okay?
He's going to be 20,000 strong no matter if they win or
No
lose. 'cause
matter
they don't
what,
win
they
now.
don't have to worry about that in Toronto. I get all that, but just the same, it's a different beast in Toronto. But with the coaching and the business end, how many times have we witnessed where a coach is the fall guy, even though the athletes are the ones that are making
the
errors?
simple
See,
statement
and I
is-
have a problem with that because it's not the coaches
players
that
aren't
are
gonna go.
lacing up the running shoes.
But the players
or
aren't going to
spikes
go
or-
down.
Well, players win games, coaches lose them. That's what it is.
Yeah.
Players win, and all the adulation goes to the players. When they lose the game, everybody points at the coach. It's never the player's fault, ever. Oh, no.
Okay,
they
when
couldn't
did,
do nothing wrong.
I'm curious, when did that change?
Well, it's been for a long time. It's
Did
been
you
for a
guys
long
find
time.
when you lost games in a tough game, you look back on some of the moves you made instead of what
Of course,
the kids
I
did?
don't need
Yeah.
to be criticized.
Instead of what
Yeah,
the
exactly.
kids
I'm
did,
my
you
biggest
look at
critic.
what you
Yeah.
did.
Yeah, I'm my
That's
biggest
fine.
critic.
Absolutely.
I'm my biggest critic.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Jerry. What do you
No, I
got?
said I blame myself for every time
Yeah,
we
okay,
lose a
but
game, but
that's because you guys are passionate, and maybe you look at yourselves that maybe you could have done something in the battle of that one contest. Okay, I mean, again though, the bottom line to me is players put on the uniform. They're expected to be ready and bring their A game all the time. And I get in some seasons for sure it's tough. The grind of a hockey season, the grind of a baseball campaign, NBA, whatever. It's tough to get up for every game. But still, is it not their responsibility once that you're on that playing surface and the game starts? Is it not your responsibility at that point?
Wow.
I mean, how much?
At the pro level, though, do you think they're playing for this? Do you think they're playing for the school? Do you think they're playing for the team? They're playing for the bank account. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm sure there's some pride in the win at the end of the day.
Yeah.
But the passion that you can get playing for your club team or your school, I think it's lost once you get to the professional level.
Dom, from our level, like baseball, Pete Rose once said, they asked, why do you play so hard? Because it might be the first time somebody's coming to see me. So every game he played, there's not too many people like
no, they're
that.
few and far between. I think.
Yeah, and that was,
Absolutely.
again,
People
that
like
was,
that.
Pete
that's
Rose
why I
is different.
asked.
Yeah.
Well, I think back then, in general, in his playing days, I mean,
Yeah.
I wouldn't.
Oh, but
I
you're
would-
going
I
back.
would be-
I'm talking about today's
Yeah.
modern professional athletes. They don't really. I mean, they're just playing for the book. They are.
It's about getting paid, isn't
Yeah.
it?
Slightest little injury. you
Oh,
miss,
yeah,
you're sitting out for this and that. That never
oh.
happened in the old days, right?
No.
Guys played through everything.
Well, again, it's hard to make the comparison because the game was a little bit different back then in every sport. Let's face it, the equipment was different. The training facilities were different. I mean, let's face it, a lot of athletes today
Nutrition, weight,
they have
everything.
nutritionists, they have their own personal trainer,
Yeah.
things like that. Of course, they
Yeah.
have their own equipment sponsor too, like Reebok or
Publicists
Nike or
and
something
everything.
like that,
Yeah.
which players back then didn't have. But all those things make it different today. So again, my question is, where did it change? And okay, has it changed for the better? Is it better now?
Like I said, I think the salaries is what changed it the most when it got really big. I mean, I don't know when year-wise what that was. I'm thinking 80 sometime, late. I don't know.
Well, how long do coaches last in each sport now? Where's the
Shelf
longevity?
life is pretty
Where's
short.
the longevity in each sport?
Unless you're Steve Hart at the University of Windsor, and he's got both teams. So if they decide to fire Mr. Hart, they're losing 2 coaches, not 1. So he's pretty secure. That's a smart move on your part.
I'm not silly as a
He's half the man he used to be, those two teams.
All right, we got to take a timeout here on the Den. When we come back, I want the top 5 coaches. It doesn't matter what sport, and those of you viewing in at home, top 5 coaches ever in their sport, whatever sport, it can be anything. I just want the top 5 coaches and why you thought that they were the best 5 to ever coach teams. We'll talk about that right here on the Sports Den.
Like our champions, we know what it takes to win. Every day we put on our uniforms and we strive to be the best. Ring after ring, we keep practicing until it becomes second nature. Our craftsmen have put in thousands of hours to master their trade. And when things get tough, we make the adjustments needed to stay on top. Baron Championship Rings. This is who we are.
Adding new products or services to your brochure? Updating those drab business cards? Or looking to create a striking window display? In need of some screen-printed signs for that construction site or promotional campaign? Posters, vehicle wraps, and a whole lot more. At Angelstar Digital, our expert design and production team are ready to meet all your promotional needs. For samples of our work, check out our website at www.angelstardigital.com, or you can call us at 519-969-0712. That's 519-969-0712.
How frenzy.
Thank God this show's winding down. Sports Den, Domenic Papa, glad to have you along. Before we get back to the Three Stooges, let's tell you what's coming up here on WeTV. This Saturday, AKO Fratman Football, the UFC football conference featured on we-tv.ca. The Burlington Braves in town to take on the Fratman at Windsor Stadium. Game time is at 6:30 p.m. Kickoff is at 7 p.m. We'll have all the action for you live on we-tv.ca. Jerry Kavanaugh is here from the Windsor Clippers lacrosse team, Steve Hart from the University of Windsor Lancers soccer teams, and Richard Sullivan from the Windsor Selects baseball program. Before we get into our 5 coaches that I asked for at the break, easier to coach today or than back then? And I asked that because we had discussed earlier that athletes, when they get to that point now, being the high-level athlete, they already done it. They're already, gifted players. Back then, maybe it was a little bit different. Maybe there was a little more teaching that went on. Maybe even more systematic coaching. Who knows? Tougher today or before, Jerry?
I don't know, tougher or not tougher. Definitely different. Like I said, I think today's a lot more psychology involved in it. There's more, there's more
Yeah, there's a lot
talking.
of head cases out there.
You couldn't
for
just
sure.
go in and the old days you hear about go in there and kick a garbage can around, throw some sticks and yell and scream. That just doesn't cut it anymore. I mean, you can't get away with that kind of stuff. So maybe it was easier because there was easy ways out. Then you could just be that kind of guy. Now you've got to put some effort in with learning different personalities and dealing with that more than they did, I think, in the old days. It was the old thing was everybody's get treated the same. Well, you can't do that anymore. They can't because they're not the same kids.
Okay.
The old days, I think the coach had the intelligence of the sport, and he could pull it through. Today, there's so much out there for young coaches. There's so much out there that they can go to the internet, obviously, or all the library of books they can get their hands on, DVDs and stuff. So there's a lot more information available to young coaches than the older coach. If they avail themselves of it, then I think it could be easier right now.
Mm-hmm. What do you think, Rich?
Actually, I think bring up social media has helped us tremendously in our sport. They go on our website. All the kids we've had come out said we want the same like the kids that are gone before us. And I think it's made it a lot easier for us because they come in, there's no games, and they know what they're getting, and they know what we expect. And I think it's become a little bit easier, actually, to tell you the truth.
Coaching's easier today, you're saying?
I think to handle these kids. I think they, like I said, it is a timeout generation. You have to talk at them, not at them, but to them. And you can't rant and rave. You got to be very careful. They're very intelligent. They're social media. They're very astute to what's going on. But I think once you get their trust, like any young man or female, they'll give it their all to you. And that's what I find.
And this might sound like a crazy question, but with the way things are going, do you think the day is going to come, and it might not be in our lifetime, who knows, but I don't want to think too far down the road, but will there be the day where coaches just will not be around? Teams will kind of
No,
do their
it'll
own
never
thing?
happen. Unless you ever have a sport where the exact amount of numbers have to play the exact amount of places, there's always got to be some guy that's got to say, sorry, son, you're not starting. Right? There's always going to have to be. Again, sorry. Sorry, I do apologize. It's always you.
And I gave him $100 last time.
But stop, we told you,
My
stop.
parents delivered food to his house.
I told you not to say that.
Oh, jeez.
So never
Sorry.
see that day then in any
I don't
sport?
think so.
I don't think so.
it's
There
big
needs,
mistake.
you know,
No.
maybe not as much with the assistant coach. There's always got to be somebody running the ship, I think, right? Like,
Yeah. They've always got to have somebody they fire.
Well, yeah,
You gotta blame somebody.
They do say about coaches, you're hired to be fired.
That's it.
So that is a cliche that sticks
Don't tell
around.
Mike Havey that.
What's that?
Don't tell Mike Havey.
No, I think Mike's okay with you right now. I don't think Mike has a problem with it. Okay, 5 coaches. At the break, I had asked the viewers at home and also our panel, 5 coaches that maybe are the best coaches ever, and give us a couple reasons why they were successful, perhaps. I'll throw out the first one for me, and I never witnessed him coaching. I've read books, I've seen video, I've heard stories, and they have a trophy even named after the guy, so that tells me a ton. Vince Lombardi. From everything I've heard about this guy, players, I think the toughest challenge for any coach at any level in any sport, even today, is to get the players to play for him and to want to play for him. And by all accounts, it sounds like Vince Lombardi had no problem with players wanting to play for him. They would have done anything for this man, from what I've heard. So I go with Vince Lombardi as maybe the greatest coach ever in any sport. Top that, guys.
After you.
Who wants to take a shot? What do you mean? Who came to mind?
I said Phil Jackson.
Jackson, okay.
Between the Bulls and the Lakers that he coached, and it's funny. I'm actually reading a Phil Jackson book right now, 11 Rings. A lot of his methods were getting that we talked about earlier about getting the big dogs on the team, Jordan and Pippen and Kobe or Shaq, those guys to buy in, and they became basically extensions of him. What they brought the team into be on the same page. And
Do you think he had to coach a lot, or was it just a matter of
I think his was a lot of the
mainly
psychology
coaching
part.
those
Mars.
egos?
Yeah, I think getting like a guy like Michael Jordan, obviously, or Kobe to play in a team system, which he's doing something
Because
right.
that's a great call on Phil
Yeah.
Jackson, for sure.
Yeah,
I mean,
so-
I think a lot of people would rate him as one of the best coaches ever, for sure, because of the reasons I think you just explained, Jerry.
Yeah.
What about you, Coach Hart?
Well, I'm going to go with the one guy that gave England their one World Cup, all right?
Okay.
Sir Alf Ramsey.
Okay.
You know, I've read a lot about him, and he sounds like he put together an amazing team called the Wingless Wonders, and they did very well. But I mean, any coach that puts together a team to win the World Cup, then I think they've got to be up there.
Oh, well, winning a World Cup certainly does give you a lot of clout.
Yeah,
That's
definitely.
for sure. Has there ever been a coach that's won a couple of World Cups, or it must be?
Yeah.
I would imagine. We'll have to look that up.
Yeah.
But to win two of them, I think, would be an amazing thing. So, what was it about him, though, that really made him special? And
Well, back then, I mean, back in 1966, when he did it, he had to pull together. I mean, and they didn't have the resources that obviously that the modern day coach has. You know, they could send him video and all that. This guy had to do the dog work. He had to go around every ground in the country. I mean, most of them were based in the one country. They're not like the international players that are all over the place today. But he did the dog work. He brought together a team that really wasn't fancy to win it at all. And to go and beat the Germans in the final was special.
okay. I would imagine you're going to go baseball, right, Rich?
No, I was going to say Don Shula, Scotty Bowman,
Okay.
people like
Scotty
that.
Bowman,
Sparky
certainly.
Anderson.
Yeah, well, I got
you know,
Sparky on my list. I got
Whitey Herzog, guys like
I got
that.
Scotty
He's
on my
taking
list
them
as
all.
well.
I was going to that.
Well, yeah, it
That's
was-
four. We need one more.
Out of those guys, though, who was it that kind of stood out to you, Rich, and why?
I know. I always really respect like Don Shula because for years they had an undefeated team, but he did it for a long time, even into the late '80s with guys like Dan Marino. He still won. He won in the early '70s. He won in the late '80s. So a lot of longevity, just like Scotty Bowman. Same thing.
Is it easier to have longevity back then than today?
I think
Like
so.
we talked
Yeah.
about the shelf life of a coach now is,
Yeah.
mind you, a coach may go coach how many teams? I mean, he may be a couple years here, a couple years
Yeah.
there, a couple years.
Well, Jacques Demers said
Yeah.
a couple years after 2 or 3 years, I think the guys today don't get the message.
Yeah.
It's time to move on. I believe that.
Was that Jock?
Jock.
Jacques Stratt.
We're running out of time, guys.
He hung around for a while. So.
One thing, the other thing I want to throw out, because this is something that's going on a lot now in sports, former athletes are becoming coaches. Do they make better coaches than the everyday guy that, as you said, Coach Hart, reads up on it, learns about it, studies it, breaks down video, what have you? Is there a difference there?
I do have an opinion on this because I believe that an existing player moving into coaching gives a better perspective, understands what's needed, understands that, especially at the different levels, understands the level that's needed.
I get that, and I love Wayne Gretzky, God bless him, but Wayne's coaching career was not a bright, shining star.
No, and there's
Yeah,
a
it's
whole
no guarantee
catalog.
by any means,
Yeah,
yeah.
there's a whole
And that's why I
catalog.
bring this up. You know, does a coach...
No, not necessarily.
Scotty Bowman was never an NHL
Yeah,
player.
exactly.
No.
Okay, so where is that at?
Your hero wasn't exactly a superstar, Alex Ferguson. But
Yes.
he was a great coach. He was a great coach, but he wasn't exactly your major soccer player.
I just look at guys who manage players, and for
Yeah.
longevity, that's what I
That's
look at.
it.
People could manage egos, manage players, get them to win.
Ferguson managed
Yeah,
them for
yeah. That's
years.
why I
Years.
follow all the sports. Dom, you've seen like this gentleman from England just did that with the team he had, and now that he's gone, is he?
He was Scottish.
Okay.
Can they be better, coach or a player? Who would you go with?
Again, I've seen more. It seems players now are going into the management roles. We're becoming GMs right away. But yeah, I don't think it's a guaranteed. I think it's an aspect that helps for sure. Like I said, if you've played the game, you understand what it takes to play at the next level. I think it's definitely something that can help you as a coach. Doesn't guarantee you're going to be a good coach by any means.
Okay, I've got about 30 seconds. Who's the best coach in sports today? It doesn't matter which sport. Who's the best coach out there? Jim Caldwell, Detroit Lions. There we go.
There you go.
I'm trying to think.
Yeah.
You got the special one for Chelsea, Jose Mourinho.
What about the guy in San Antonio in that basketball team?
Yeah, Popovich.
Popovich, yeah. How do you argue
I
that?
just love this guy and the
Yes.
job he did, and I love the
Yeah.
fact that through the year, he's smart. He rests his key guys. He fine us, I don't care. All we're about is winning an NBA
Yeah.
title, and
Yeah.
he rests his older guys through the year. He'll bench them. You don't have to dress tonight. I love that about this guy.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, he's-
I go with Pop. I think he's
I'm
on
going with
it.
Dennis Farrell.
Dennis Farrell, good call. Amazing coach, good call. We're going to let Coach Farrell see this show. Thanks for coming in, guys. Appreciate your time. That's this edition of the SportsDen Live. Check us out again next Tuesday, or check the archives at we-tv.ca if you want to see the show. And until next week, this is Domenic Papa wishing you a great night. Take care, everybody.